What is going on, everybody, man? King Recon here. I can't help it, bro. Listen. El Príncipe. Listen, man, this chapter was awesome. We had some great moments. The numbers, Yamato and Apu, hilarious stuff there. Drake, staying firm to his beliefs and his convictions, like, screw this guy, I ain't playing to the tune of his drum, I'm doing my own thing. You know, we had some cool moments there. Big Mom as a menacing threat, seeing Law and how far his character has come, and understanding himself and being okay with announcing his own intentions out there. And he's somebody that always keeps stuff in his head. So for him to state what he stated in this chapter, which was very reminiscent to what he stated to Corazon about the checkered fate and whatnot, and seeing it through to the end, you know, his true intentions about finding out the true history. Like, for him to say that means that one of two things is happening here. Either A, Luffy has influenced him to this point in time, because we all know Law's a straw hat, but B, Law realizes that what's currently going down is extremely serious. He can no longer hold anything back, and that means himself. And so he's out here announcing his true intentions, putting that out there so they can have that as something internally for him, that's my goal. I need to survive this unsurvivable situation. Big Mom is coming in, wide eyes, straight up, like you took off one health bar, but I still got 100 more left, JRPG style. And Big Mom's playing no games, right? So Law stating that, and then getting that final line with Kid, and it was amazing. Love that. Can't wait to see where that goes, because you already know Kid and Law are about to start going ham. You got their awakenings, great stuff incoming, especially when it comes to character moments between the two. After what we saw with Kid and Killer, and now with Law announcing his intentions, like, I was wondering what that line with Corazon was going to be paid off, right? Or how it was going to be paid off at any given point in the story later on. And now we're starting to see how it's being paid off. And on that same line of thought, I want to focus this Recon's piece, this Afterthoughts, on the topic of promise and payoff. And of course, we're going to be talking about El Príncipe. Of course, we're going to be talking about Vince Smoke Sanji, Mr. Burgundy in Black. Couple months ago, I made a video for the 1000th episode celebration, the countdown to 1000, and it was based around the Mr. Prince chapter back in Alabasta, chapter 174, and why that had a massive impact on me at the time, and why it still does to this day, why it's a moment that still sticks with me to this day, and how I've studied it, and I've tried to apply it in my own works. Because it truly is a magnificent moment. It was the first time I had seen in any story long-term payoff to a character that is not the main character. Because I had seen it before when it comes to the main character. You know, I had seen that in stuff like professional wrestling. I had seen it in video games, like stuff that's put into place early on and then paid off later on the line. But I had never seen it to this extent done to somebody who's not a main character. One of the main characters. Definitely one of the main characters, but not the main character. And so it blew my mind when we had that moment in Whiskey Peak, or I'm sorry, not in Whiskey Peak, in Little Garden, whenever he's talking to Mr. Zero, Crocodile on the Denden Mushi, and he does the restaurant and the crap and all that greatness. It was super epic. But at the time, you don't realize what's being set up there. Like, you just know this is an awesome moment. But whenever you get to Alabasta, and you realize no one in Baroque Works has seen this dude, no one even knows what he looks like. No one knows he's a part of the crew. And so when he pops out, Mr. Prince, let's get it. It was so hype and epic, because not only is the moment itself epic, but you see how much it took to build that up. And it was just one of those feel-good moments of, wow, this was being foreshadowed and being promised back then. And now we're seeing the payoff. And Sanji, to me, has always been the representation of that concept within the series. And this series has done a lot of promise and payoff. This series has done a lot of setting up stuff that we would never, like the Brooke and Laboon stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff. You know, man. It's one of the things the series is known for. But Sanji's character is the representation of that. that Mr. Prince moment, the Prince stuff, right? Sanji's royalty greatness being set up all the way back in Jaya, little bits and pieces there. Baratier, awesome sauce. And you start getting answers when chapter 801 drops. And it says dead or alive. And you're like, whoa, we're doing this now? And then we go to Zoe. And we start seeing the payoff to years worth of promises. Years worth of setup. And it's like Sanji's character has always had this as a part of his own thing. Long-term payoff to his character. And this week's chapter was every Sanji chapter that we've ever had. Especially from Whole Cake Island. Coming into culmination here with this week's chapter, man. I remember reading chapter 1004 and 1005, I believe. I think it was those two. With the Sanji greatness and him relying on Robin and all of that was happening there. And I was just in awe at what Oda was doing with Sanji. And I saw the vision. Or at least I thought I saw the vision. I was like, we're about to get phenomenal Sanji moments. If he is free to do as he pleases now, because now he has done what he couldn't do back then, whereas he took everything upon himself in order to protect others. Now he's willing to rely on others in order to do what only he can do. This man's about to go off. And we saw Sanji's demeanor change after that. Mans has been going non-stop in ever since that moment. But this week's chapter, when he finally comes to the two things, matter of fact, three things, that have had him so conflicted for all of these years, that has had him so conflicted in regards to what we've seen in the story, the three biggest inner conflicts that he's had. Never hitting a woman, his bloodline, his lineage, his family, and his crew. All three of his internal conflicts. He has to face all three at once. And it's the way that it's done is so brilliant. He believes, because he blanked out, he believes that he hit this woman that's on the floor. I don't believe he did, but he believes he did it, right? We see that he's changing. We see that his body, the transformation has been complete. I saw all of your comments stating the factual evidence. Sanji's eyebrows now look just like his brother's. The transformation has been complete. What is currently going down is his Germa bloodline taken over. The lineage factor is here. Sanji is officially just like his brothers, which is why he understood the gravity of the situation. He understood just how bad this can get. Because if he blanked out and possibly did this, then he could only imagine what's going to end up happening to the crew. What's going to end up happening to the others. Because he can't control himself. He's not going to have that state of mind anymore. At least he doesn't know. He's afraid of that. That's why he never wanted to use any of these things. And so when he's presented with something that obviously has helped him out up until this point in the raid suit, he completely rejects it. He has accepted and rejected this idea of being a part of his family. He has accepted the fact that it is now inside of him. He can't do anything about it now. He can't do anything about it now. The transformation has been complete. He's just like his siblings. But what is his answer to that? Rather than sulking, rather than trying to take it all upon himself, what does Sanji do that is so beautiful, man? He does exactly what he did in the Robin chapter, where he relied on Robin. You need to take care of this because you're the only one that can take care of this. so I can go out and do the only thing that I can do. He called up the one man that he knows would be able to do the thing that he was about to ask him to do. He calls up the Marimo. He calls up his rival. He calls up the one individual that he knows 110% would do this no matter how much it hurt him. Because they have always been there for each other in their biggest and hardest moments. Sanji tells Zoro that if his demeanor, if his mind is gone after this, if after everything settles, he's turned into a killing machine like his siblings, don't let him hurt the crew. Don't let him hurt the other individuals he loves so much. End it, man. End it. But what I love so much about this is that he does not resolve himself to die. He doesn't do what he did back in Whole Cake. He instead resolves himself to live. That he's going to try his hardest to do everything that he can. If he's a monster, so be it. If he's a monster, so be it. But he's going to become a monster in order to defend the people he loves most. And once everything's settled and he no longer has self-control, he's going to leave it up to the one individual that can do it to finish him off so he doesn't end up hurting the people he loves most. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Because we know Sanji's story. Because we know everything that's led up to this moment. And Hell's Memories is such an amazing way to do this, remembering all of that. Because now it's just not remembering the 2 years. Now Hell has a completely different context to it in regards to that technique. That technique's going to be stronger than ever. Because he truly just went through that back in Whole Cake Island. Before he was brought out of that thanks to his crew. The worst pain that he had ever gone through. Sanji is very lowest. Hell's Memories has to be at its very strongest at this point in time. And I love that was utilized in this week's chapter. But then we get the line that legit... I mean, this last line hit hard, and I know when it gets animated, it's gonna get the tears rolling. But man, yo, earlier in the chapter, when he asked Luffy which version of him does he want around, that hits hard, man. Because you go back, one of my favorite moments in Whole Cake Island is at the end of the arc whenever Judge is talking about Sanji and all the things that he finds to be flaws within Sanji. And Luffy states, why in the world are you stating stuff? You know, all the good things about him, all his good qualities. That's so weird. I thought he hated you. And that was such a perfect line to end that portion of the arc on. That's the difference between his blood family and his found family. And so then he asks, because in his mind he must question it too, like, me doing all that stuff back in Whole Cake Island might be the reason why we're here. Me doing all that stuff back in Whole Cake Island, if I never would have done that, if I never would have put ourselves in that situation, maybe we would have went straight to Wano and Big Mom wouldn't have chased us here. It would have just been Kaido versus us. It would have just been us versus Kaido, not us versus Kaido and Big Mom. You know, we would have had a better chance. But it's all my fault that y'all went to Whole Cake Island and raised Big Mom, and now Big Mom is coming over here to just to chase us. It's all my fault. And so Sanji in his mind, he's like, Luffy, because you're the one that was willing to accept all the burdens that I had. Even though I can't ask you this right now, I'm going to ask you this in my mind. Which version of me would you rather have? The me that's been with you from the very beginning? or the cold-blooded killer that I could possibly become? Which one would get you? Repeat. Peak, man. What kind of person does the Pirate King need by his side, bro? I love this so much, man. I don't even know what to say. I don't, man, because this series, the best moments for characters always comes whenever they make their decisions on what needs to be done at a certain point in time, right? Nothing happened. Help me. I want to live. All these moments were their decisions. When Sanji said, I made up my mind. My mind is still unclear. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm going to accept responsibility and accountability for what may happen. And we've talked about the scenarios and the possibilities of him fighting CP0, losing himself in the moment, whatever it is. But he's not giving up. He's not giving up. He has the will to live. He has the will to protect. He has the will to continue to put the crew first. The thing that he thought about above all other things was, who is the individual the Pirate King needs by his side? Who do you need as the wing? The cold-blooded killer or your cook? Who would be more beneficial to you? All my flaws, the fact that I can't hit women, the fact that I can't do any of this, all the things that he sees himself as flaws, things that have, lost him battles in the past, things that he's been unable to move past because of his own convictions, and that's why Luffy loved him so much. That's why we love him, because of his convictions. But those are things that hold him back. And he realizes that, man. But he doesn't want to let it go because that's just who he is. And it's like, how relatable is that, man? When we know that there's something that if we just got rid of it, we'd be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish. But we don't want to get rid of that because that's just a part of who we are. That's a thing, especially if it's something we were brought up on. Something that is very just close to our heart in regards to a teaching or a lesson that we grew up with. It's hard to throw something like that away, man. Especially if it's intertwined with who you are. And what I love so much about this moment is that Sanji realized the gravity of the situation to where he throws away his dream, man. His second dream, all those first, but his second dream of the raid suit and the invisibility, and crushes it because he's like, man, no more playing games here. I'm putting my crew first over my own aspirations. This is why I love Sanji and Zoro so much, bro, because they've both put the crew before their own aspirations and ambitions. And it's just so incredible, man. I love this so much. Everything about this, that I'm not going to lose myself anymore. Accepting the fact that he's become one of the Germa. Whenever he says farewell Germa, he's just saying that in regards to the raid suit. He's accepted the fact that it's a part of him now. But he's ending the fight his own way, man. He's taking responsibility. He's taking accountability. And so while leaving things to Zoro, bro. And I love Zoro's response, man. It's like, yo, just don't die, bro. Just don't die. You better not die, man. Don't die on me, dog. In his own way. That's what he said. Like, if it comes down to it, I'll make it swift. don't die on me. Like, it hits, man, because in his own way, it's like, dang, man, like, it's the nicest thing he's ever said, you know what I'm saying? Love those two, bro. And Sanji's resolve, having crushed the raid suit, still vanishes from Queen's sight. Because the fiery passions of our lovely cook, our love-struck cook, are, much faster or far surpassing Queen's greatest of scientific ambitions or biggest of scientific, thoughts of what could be possible, surpassing all logic. Sanji vanishes and hits him with the hell's memories, man. I love this so much, bro. I could go on and on, man, with Sanji, his character, the level of attention to detail when it comes to paying off things that have been put into place for so many years, and how it just continues to progress and progress and progress as the series has continued. How certain things have led to others, but his character, man, his character journey from the very beginning up until this point in time has been nothing short of magnificent, man. He truly is one of the greatest characters in this series, bro. I mean, what an amazing, amazing character. It's, it's just, it leaves me speechless. It does. So when I put the pieces together, when we sit here to read this chapter and just look back on the journey and what led to this point, in regards to all the chapters, not only within this arc, just by this arc by itself, it's already mind-blowing, but you look back at everything else, man, and it's like, bro, the amount of care that went into this character, man. Sanji greatness, bro. It's crazy, like, Sanji greatness, dog. Without a doubt, if not my favorite Sanji chapter in the series, one of my favorite Sanji chapters, because there's a lot of Sanji chapters that I love, and a lot of them are really high up my list. A lot of them. Mr. Prince greatness, Sea Train greatness, the awesome sauce in Whole Cake Island, multiple chapters in Whole Cake Island, right? And even within this arc. But this moment, as in my own personal bias of loving whenever characters have to overcome themselves and have to accept who they truly are or what they've become, accept that responsibility in order to progress, in order to take on your internal conflict head on, the things that have been holding you back. That's something I'm extremely biased towards. Every single one of my favorite characters has had to deal with that, man. And see Sanji get to continue to struggle with this, but not struggle in this chapter. He came up with an answer. He took responsibility. He said, I'm making a decision by the Flagnards. I'm going to try my hardest to live. But if worst comes to worst, I'm leaving it in my crew's hands to take care of the situation for me. I'm leaving it in Zoro's hands to take care of the situation for me. Because that's something only they can do. I'm going to focus on what only I can do. I love Sanji, man. Magnificent, magnificent character. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Just man, I don't know, bro. He's always been one of my favorite characters, but especially lately when it comes to a lot of the Straw Hats, it's gonna be really hard the next time that I do a favorite characters list, because it just continues to switch. It continues to switch and move, and for different reasons. But like I was talking about in the video for this Saturday's thing about why I love Wano, it's moments like this, man. It's these character moments that make it so difficult to solidify like a favorite characters list, because they just keep getting amazing moments. But one character that has had so many incredible moments, especially in just Onigashima, is this man Sanji, bro. The vision. This man Oda has had the vision in mind, man. And just been executing the game plan back to back to back. It's been glorious, dog. What a character. Burgundy and Black, El Príncipe, Mr. Prince, Vince Smoke Sanji, first of his name, Goat Man. Red Leg Zeph would be proud of the man this dude has become, bro. That's one of the wings right here. To make a decision like that, both Sanji and Zoro have been placed in scenarios where they have to make decisions like this. And we've seen their answers time and time again. But to see how far they've come, I'm looking forward to seeing what we're about to get here with Zoro and King. Because knowing how Wano's the last arc before the final saga, or at least that's my assumption, this is going to be the biggest step in their character arcs yet before we get into the final stretch of them accomplishing their goals and their aspirations. Sanji's an incredible character, man. I don't even know what to say, bro. What an amazing, amazing character, yo. I'll see y'all next time. It is an awesome sauce of a day, dude. It's the Burgundy and Black, man. I don't know.